Like a little music with your meal, Tuco?
Music? Yes, it's very good. Very good for the digestion.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
You know, we're always quickest to doubt people who have a reputation for being honest.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Could be a monkey or a orangutan.
A bald monkey? Is he a pig? He sure eats like one.
Top news stories of the week. Time to find out once again with Megan Olson and News of the Week on the Al Travis Show.
She is in so much trouble today. Megan, how are you doing?
Good. Happy to be back.
Love having you back, but I can only imagine the top stories are the top stories I've been talking about for the last 3 days. Some of them are just, it's out there, it's in your face, it's in your grill. I think some of it, and you'll get to hear my brilliance on this, is created to take other stuff off the front page. This is going to be good stuff, but we'll find out from you what the top stories are. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I mean, top story, we can dive right in. It's something we've talked about for the last several years. It's fraud, and it's proving to be still a very salient issue here in Minnesota. It's something that's going to be top of people's minds in 2026. We've got more fraud coming out of the framework with DHS. Specifically, the news story out of this last week was fraud related to the Integrated Community Supports Program. So the temporary commissioner of the Minnesota DHS uncovered some instances where providers were billing for services that clients actually never received. And I just want to do a quick pause here to applaud this temporary commissioner for taking all of this very seriously, looking at all the programs comprehensively, and finding more of what we know is there. It's a very difficult job to have. This person is obviously temporary. There's a reason why they don't want to step into that role full time. But yeah, this is a program that was created to help adults with disabilities live more independently. So assistance with mobility, all the way, things related to cooking, housing, everything in between, and just another kind of cherry on top of the fraud situation we have here in Minnesota.
Here is the problem with this. I'm going to tell you, this program, whatever it started at $2 million. Sounds like a great deal. It's probably in the hundreds of millions now. I don't even know the actual number. But here is what I'm going to tell you is happening there. And I'm not in this. I'm just telling you because history repeats itself. I believe this ICS program was created with the idea of helping poor disabled folks how to keep them in their house. Like you say, how to cook, how to clean, how to read roadsides. I read some stuff yesterday about it. Fine. But we put nothing in as far as who is it and who gets it and how do you get paid and why are you the one who's doing it? Do you have any kind of expertise in helping disabled? None of this. I'll bet you they don't even have to know that they're disabled. You're in Minnesota, you're disabled, you're getting disability checks. You would be on a list. We would know exactly the number of folks who could possibly be using this. And here's how I think the fraud went. Someone read, oh, really? I could do that. And I put in Bob's name and they sent me a check. Oh, that was really this easy. I just told them I was helping Bob, and they mailed me a check. What if I sent them 16 names? Let's see if they'd catch on to that. And they sent it, and all of a sudden, that worked. This is just feeding our futures. This is just, adult daycare. This is child care. This is just put names and give me bills to the state, and the state will pay.
Well, and that really is the sad reality of it, is like the people who are getting the short end of the stick in this are the people who need these services the most. So these providers are claiming these individuals, saying that they're helping them, but those people aren't seeing any of that support and assistance. So those people are getting the short end of the stick. Obviously, the taxpayers are also getting the short end of the stick. But what's really crazy about all of this and kind of related to, it's another instance of fraud here in Minnesota, but there is a new lawsuit now with the housing stabilization program fraud issue that we talked about. They stopped all of those payments. And now a particular provider, Home Care Staffing, has filed a first of its kind lawsuit alleging that they were unfairly harmed in the stoppage of these payments. They had to lay off and suspend services for more than 500 clients. I'm assuming at face value that this is a good actor in the system, and they're upset that they're paying the cost for all of the bad actors in the system. That really is the worst part about all of this, is that there are good people and these programs are good for those who need it. But when you have those people coming in and taking advantage of it, they're ruining it for everyone else.
See, and there's a couple things. Bad people are going to do bad things. So you try to make it hard for them to do bad things, right? You don't just say, send in a name, we'll figure it out later after you get your check. That makes no sense. We need We need verification, and we don't seem to want it. The second thing is, and I'm going to call the people at the state of Minnesota that are doing this. The autism fraud started at $3 million. It's at $200 million 4 years later. The guy in charge of autism fraud, instead of being so dang proud of himself and look at how much money I can give out, maybe you got to look at, did autism go up? Are we fixing it? We have no accountability on the other side.
Where's the data that supports this increased need? Yeah,
exactly. And then if you really want to delve down to it, it seems in the Department of Human Services, Minnesota, many people, not all, many people just think, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to raise anything. I'll just write the checks. They come in. It's not my job to figure it out. And they don't realize they're hurting the very people we're trying to help. If I had an autistic kid, and thank God I don't, but if I did, I'd be so bloomin' mad that the money that was supposed to go to help my kid never got touched because we didn't have anything better than this. Mm-hmm. If you're disabled and you're trying to get your disabled kid to be able to stay home and all that money was wasted, how do you keep voting for the same people who don't seem to give a rat's butt?
Well, and now it seems, and I know you've had Senator Gustafson on the program before, it seems like it's becoming more of a bipartisan issue as far as finding a solution to this, having an independent Office of Inspector General. There are other measures that can be put into place that I think have broad bipartisan support. So I think we're inching our way towards a more real solution, because I think more and more people are realizing 2026 is a huge election year, and this is a key issue specifically just for Minnesota. This is not a national issue. This is just a Minnesota issue. And they're realizing if they're running for re-election, well, they better have a stance on this, and they better have some sort of solution or something that they can get behind.
But this is the politicization of this whole thing. So we've had her on many times. Gustafson, Heather Gustafson comes on this program, Senator Gustafson, and we're watching her go through this. The bipartisan support, 60 to the 7 or whatever it was the number that passed it out of the Senate. Both sides said this was our deal. It doesn't even get a hearing or a vote in the House because the Democrats said no. The governor didn't want this thing done because it took power away from the people he's in charge of, puts it someplace else. He kills that thing. Now he comes out with his own, I got an idea. How about an inspector general? And it makes it sound like it's Gustafson's bill, but it's not. Mm-hmm. He's not jumping aboard. His ends up whiling, turning around, and what do you know? Who's the other guy in charge? The governor. Yeah. How independent is that? It's the same thing we got now.
On this note, too, I want to circle back because you had brought up, the autism fraud. We talked about that maybe for 1 or 2 weeks. It hasn't really gone anywhere yet. Feds are, obviously dealing with the evidence and trying to prosecute, et cetera, et cetera. But last week, this story kind of boomed a little bit and then went away because there's so much other things to talk about. But there was a woman, a 28-year-old woman, and she in particular defrauded this autism program out of $14 million. So she alone was a part of this in that amount, and also was a part of Feeding Our Future as well.
Okay, and it's just part of Feeding Our Futures, going in for the next big thing. Used probably the same names, you watch this, you use the same name, didn't even generate new names, just the same names worked last time. But here's another problem. So there's people, obviously the people that run the programs don't care, they don't care that the kids aren't getting their money. We don't seem to care that we want to vote these people out. But here's the next one. There's somebody at the Minnesota State Department of Collections, IRS, Minnesota, where we collect our money. I was told one year I had a very good year, and my accountant said, "Hey, just so you know, you have a big jump like that, you might be flagged. You might get audited." Okay, I said, "Are we cheating?" Nope. Okay, then we're ready for our audit. This woman has no income in her business because it just starts when all this autism stuff. She starts a business. It's instantly at $14 million in 2 years. That's not enough for somebody, the Minnesota IRS, to say, well, where does that come from? Take it, look under the hood. What do you know? It's all her whole business, just Minnesota funded stuff. And you don't take and red flag that? I don't know how that's even possible.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a staffing issue where they don't have enough staff to look at these cases, or if they're just going after, the little guy. I would think it would raise alarm bells, but I mean, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, I applaud the temporary commissioner for looking at all of this holistically. Yes. Obviously, it's not good to see that another program has also been dealing with fraud, but I think it's no secret they all do. It's just to what degree. And so for this commissioner to come in and have this ability to kind of dissect everything, because it is top of mind for so many, and we have, these committees, this House committee that's looking at all of this fraud, it's a tough job. And
and they get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. No, I'm not worried about those people, but they got to bust it. Hire me for a month. I want a month in. I'll doge this thing. Who is the biggest payments we went out to? That'd be one thing. And what's the percentage different from year to year? Those are the two I want to see. And those that jump like that, because you take this gal, $14 million. How many little people, the little guys, only stole 100,000 here or 500,000 there, and will never bubble to the top because they're smart enough not to get greedy? How many of those people are going to be out there? We'll never know. That's the problem. We got to go to break. There's lots more coming up because we aren't done with it yet. It's Megan's News and Review, the top stories that are floating around this week in your Twitter world.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc. Midwest Money Management and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
And we've got her. She's Megan. Megan's News and Review. The top stories people are tweeting, retweeting, sending around the internet. What's number two? Fraud. What's funny is when you go back to 2025, we do a year end. You can probably do 2020 for the last 7 years. Fraud's on the top of that top 10 list every year for how long? Mm-hmm. This is not going anywhere. But what's the next on the list?
Yeah, well, you had a good lead in before, and I didn't want to jump the gun and get too into this next topic, but you said something about, Walz kind of going rogue and having his own ideas. He's doing that again when it comes to special session and the potential for gun control. So he came out over the weekend at a MinnPost festival and said that, maybe we should take this to a constitutional amendment. Maybe we should let the voters decide. And Speaker Lisa DeMuth was like, whoa, we have never heard of this. Leaders are saying this has never been talked about. So kind of going rogue again in that regard. He's still saying that he wants to call a special session and discuss gun bills and gun legislation, but there is that consideration of a potential constitutional amendment now too.
Now, see, this is it's just so mind-boggling because the story comes out, he's thinking a constitutional amendment. The next story in the paper was about the special session. He still thinks we should do it, even though I don't have the numbers. And then the next story was the fraud, this new one, the ICS thing. As I was reading down the list, and it just clicked. This guy's good. He says, I want to run for governor. Another fraud story breaks. How do we get this off the front page of the paper? I think a constitutional amendment would be great. What's on the front page of the Star Trib? Big thing. His picture, constitutional amendment.
I don't know if it's that deep. I think Walz is very well known for kind of speaking off the cuff. I think this was, a casual, friendly environment at this MinnPost festival that he was at, and it just kind of came out. But I think for me, putting myself in the shoes of leadership in the House and Senate, and if you're in conversations with the governor about a special session and, gun bans, etc., and then publicly you hear that he's calling for this without prior notice or prior conversation with you, I have to imagine that feels, one, terrible, and two, like you're being blindsided. And where's the trust? I feel like there's a major erosion of trust in all of this. And the special session remains to be seen.
We got to stop pretending the guy's not smart enough for this, because I don't believe in it. Smart like a fox. First off, he gets this benefit from almost all of the people on his side, because I've heard it a dozen times. Well, this really affected him with the Hortman shoe. This is deep personal stuff for him. So he's throwing politics out. That's bull puppy. Because with his special session, we don't have the numbers to make it work. They don't even have 34 senators on either side to get anything passed. Special session, have it. It could go on forever. You're not getting anything passed. So why would you do it? Mm-hmm. Well, let's do a constitutional amendment. Wait a minute, Governor. To get the wording for a constitutional amendment to put it on the bill, you have to get these people to agree. You don't have numbers on either side. This will go nowhere. This is the biggest thing about constitutional amendment drive me nuts, is they always write them weird. And you kind of got to read them.
It's like manipulative language. For
exactly. Sure. Is that a double negative? Am I for it if I'm against it and all that? And they can't do that when it's split 50-50, because hopefully the other side will say, well, that doesn't make any sense to the average person. So that's going nowhere too. My point is, he's not an idiot. He might be very much feeling what's happening with the guns. I get it. But he's not an idiot. And his people aren't idiots. They're doing this for one reason only. It's like, look at the shiny object. Look at over here. Can't see it. Hate that. Sorry. So, you think a constitutional amendment, and let's put some money on it. You don't have any money. I'm not going to do that. It's illegal in Minnesota. If you had $100, do you bet that there will be a special session or not? And another $100, this constitutional amendment even going to sniff air?
I'd put $100 on special session. I would not put $100 on constitutional amendment. I do think a special session is going to happen. How short or long that is remains to be seen, but I don't think a constitutional amendment is viable. I do see Walz calling for legislators to get back to the Capitol.
I think you are a great political mind, but I do not get that bet. I do not. The Constitution says I agree with you. But if you don't have 34 senators on your side to get what you want, or on the other side, they can't even get to order. They can't even order the Senate because they don't have the numbers. If you wait till November until the two senators get picked, fine. Let's get back to that's right. One of them's a representative that's running in Woodbury. Oh, now the Senate or the House is uneven. They don't have the numbers on their side for the House. I don't know. To call a session, you could really be putting yourself up for a lot of votes that you don't want.
We'll see. I mean, a lot of things are up in the air. And our last story I want to touch on quickly is, I know we only talk about Minnesota stories, but there is a federal government shutdown that is looming. Oh. If they don't, see some progress today, the government could shut down 12:01 a.m. technically tomorrow.
Wednesday,
this does impact Minnesotans. If you're traveling over the weekend, TSA agents, air traffic control will still be there, but they're not getting paid. So you could experience delays. Folks with Social Security benefits will find that no one's answering the phones to support them in that. If you have existing service, you still, continue on, but those who are looking for new service with Social Security will not get it. Federal contracts are up in the air, small business administration loans, a lot of things. So what's happening on the federal level does trickle down here to Minnesota. Keep an eye on it.
I looked at TSA thing. I read that TSA thing, thought it completely different. Hey, I got to go to work. They ain't paying me. Go on through, Al. Let's get this thing. I could just see it just speeding things up. Giddy on. The way
I'm
it wouldn't
traveling
is
next week, so I hope Congress can get it together before then. But if not, I will go a couple hours early and just hope for the best. But yeah, they got to get together on the federal level too.
we're out of time. Appreciate you, Megan.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. We will be back next week, probably talking about fraud, governor's race, other top Minnesota news stories of the week here on the Al Travis Show with Megan's News and Review.